All right, we're just gonna do a nice little series for low back. So you're just gonna start on your back, but go ahead and have a band nearby. So nice and slow, just kind of settle yourself in. And we're just gonna do a few bridge roll ups. So starting at the hip, tuck the tailbone up. Okay, pelvis towards the ribs, real slow as I continue to roll myself up. So keeping those ribs tucked down. And nice and slow, starting at the top, rolling yourself back down to neutral. We go 2 more. Slow tuck. Keeping that nice tight core. And slow back down. Last one. Nice and slow. All right, we're gonna do opposite knee grab. So one knee grabs, other leg lengthens, switch, pull, keep switching. Give that big squeeze. Try to keep the low back down. Nice strong core position. If you need to let your foot rest, you do that. So one more each side. All right, we're gonna go back to a bridge series. So bend those knees, feet are flat. We're gonna go ahead and just go up nice and flat. So pushing that low back down, kind of slight tuck with the pelvis towards the ribs. I'm gonna lift the hips up, but keep that position. And I'm just gonna go right into a march. So hands down, ribs tuck, march, slow back, march. So trying to keep those hips nice and squared up to the floor. As we shift our weight, keeping that neutral spine. Last one. And nice and slow, lower it down. All right, you're gonna widen your feet wider than a mat. We're just gonna go both knees fall towards the right. Really push that inner knee down. So internal rotation hip as you drive the external rotation hip, knee to the floor. Other side, pushing actively down, but trying to stay as square as I can in my pelvis and my torso here. And we're just going back and forth. Nice little hold at the bottom for that active portion. One more each side. And rest. All right, go ahead and grab your band. You're gonna strap your foot. Other leg can either be bent or long, just depending on your psoas length. And we're gonna go ahead and start with our knee bent. So knee is bent into the chest, pull, and then just slowly kind of start lengthening that leg as I bring my toes back towards behind my head. We're gonna keep that knee bent. So I'm just using the band to stretch. This is passive stretching. Okay, I'm not doing any work. I'm allowing the band and my arms to kind of yank, but slow breaths. So trying to stretch out through that hamstring a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna loosen the band. I'm gonna try to hold this same position all the way to let go and actively pull that foot behind your head. Try to keep everything else from moving. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Grab the band again. We're back to passive. So pull, use the band. Slow, deep breaths. So we're gonna do 2 series bent, 2 series straight. Okay, last one. Hold that position, release the band slowly, lengthen the other leg, pull hard. Keep pulling, try to keep that low back down. So we're not rolling through the pelvis. 3, 2, 1. All right, shake it out a little bit, but now we're gonna straighten the leg. We're gonna go back to that nice pull, but now we're trying to keep that knee straight. So you're only gonna go as far as you can, keeping the straight knee. We're also trying to, again, avoid that tuck and roll. So keep nice and long through the back and spine. Slowly kind of let your toes fall towards your shins. They don't have to be actively pulling down, but you kind of want your heels a little higher than your toe. Okay, we're going into our active hold. So brace, release, try to maintain that same position. So active stretching, pull that toe behind the head, drive the heel towards the sky. 3, 2, 1. Grab on again. Nice passive stretch. Maybe you can get a little deeper than your active stretch. All right, we're gonna brace and add our second hold. Push the low back down, lengthen that other leg, let go, drive that heel to the sky, toe pulls behind the head. Hold it. And 3, 2, 1. We're gonna go ahead and release the band and just let that leg fall over for your spinal twist. So opposite arm is long. You can have 90 degrees at the elbows, whatever's comfortable. You don't have to yank on that leg, but just exhale, release. Lengthen the spine on the inhale. Twist on the exhale. One more big breath. All right, slowly roll yourself back to your back. We're gonna go ahead and strap the other leg. So starting with the thigh to the chest, start lengthening the other leg or bend it, whatever works for you. Pull that knee in, and then we're slowly kicking that toe back towards behind the head. Nice passive stretch. Using the band to do the work. So our goal with mobility is always to have the same range of motion in an active hold than a passive hold. Okay, we're going into our active position. So brace, hold, release slowly. Try to maintain that same position. Pulling the knee towards the chest, kicking that toe behind the head for 3, 2, 1. Second round, pull it in. Maybe a little bit deeper in your stretch. So don't expect to have the same range of motion between passive and active right away. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of time and a lot of strength. So ease in with it. Just work hard on that active and passive hold. You really got to put effort into both. Okay, brace number 2. Brace hard, ready, hold. Keep working, and 3, 2, 1. Okay, shake it out a little bit, but we're gonna go into our straight leg. So straight leg, nice pull. So now as we let our toes drop and our heel lifts, we're gonna get that posterior knee into the gastroc a little bit. So lots of difference between the bent and the straight leg, as well as keeping our back neutral. So when we do start using our pelvis to roll and to try to get more range of motion through by tilting the pelvis, rounding out, okay, that's posterior pelvic tilt, you're not going to get the same effect in the hamstrings. Okay, so doing movements and during stretching. So it really is different kind of sitting or on your or standing position, because we end up rounding out our back a lot more. Okay, active hold. Ready? Go. Toe back, heel to the sky. Other leg is long or bent. Push your low back down. 3, 2, 1. Grab on again. Nice big stretch. So remember that flexibility is just the length of your muscle. Okay, mobility has to do with your active range of motion, your joint control, okay, and that active passive position, being able to get in those same positions without force. So you've got to use your muscles. That's where it's all about, that stability and strength. Okay, active number 2, ready, and release. Three, 2, 1, and nice and slow. Just release that band, but we're going to go over for our spinal stretch. No need to force it. If you want to put your hand down, that's fine. You want that arm out, try to keep the shoulder down. So all that rotation through that thoracic spine, into the lumbar. But most of our mobility comes from our thoracic spine, so that mid back, not the lumbar or the cervical. Those are both for stability. Thoracic's for mobility. Okay, slowly come on up. And we're just gonna finish in our child's pose position. We're gonna go child's pose. So nice wide knees, toes towards each other. Sit yourself back. Arms are nice and straight. Start just kind of swaying back and forth. So right now your knees and hips are basically in the bottom of your squat position. So that's really gonna help lengthen and decompress the spine. All right, we're gonna go into spinal rolls. So we're gonna start at the tailbone. Round your spine as you roll yourself forward towards your hands, right? So I'm kind of now in my cat position, and I'm gonna let the hips drop and roll into extension all the way up to my head. And then I'm gonna roll my head down. Start at the upper back and roll yourself back to child's pose. Ooh, got a cramp in the foot. Okay, again, tuck and roll. So it's kind of like a wave, hips drop and then rolling up through the head, tucking the head, rounding the shoulder blades first as I roll myself back. So anytime you round out the spine, that's your flexion, keep it going. And anytime you arch the spine, that's extension. And we're just going in between the two like a nice little wave. Trying to be really conscious of which area you're rounding. So segment through that spine. Tuck and roll. Shoulders, mid back, low back. And last one. So right now we're working on range of motion through spinal extension and flexion. All right, we're gonna stay down in child's pose. We're gonna walk our hands to the right and pull through the whole left side of your body. So all the way from your fingertips through the lats here and the rotator cuff, all the way through to your hip, all the way into your QL muscle. So really try to round out that side. Now this is lateral flexion. Okay, walk your hands to the other side. Pull through the right side of the body. And back through the center, and we're just gonna come to our tabletop and go into our real slow bird dog extensions just to finish it up, to kind of start firing up that low back and core. So first I'm gonna start with neutral spine. So I'm tucking that pelvis towards the ribs slightly. Back is nice and neutral, core is engaged and strong. My opposite arm, opposite leg, I'm gonna go into nice slow extension. I'm gonna hold at the top. I'm gonna check in with my low back, make sure it's still stable and not sunken down. And I want my hips square to the floor. So try not to open the hip. We want it nice and square. Push into the floor with your shoulder and hand so you're not collapsed towards your ear. And slowly come back to the floor. Other side. Go through that nice check. So pushing away from the ground, long arm, hips are square, belly's tight. You should be squeezing your butt. 3, 2, 1. Other side. Check in with everything. Everything's strong and stable. Come in, other side. Pull that belly up, push into the sky. And back. Last one. Check in, head, shoulder, upper back, low back, glutes, hips. And together, last one. If you're feeling low back pain, it's probably because you're letting your pelvis anteriorly pelvic tilt, which means an arch in your low back. Pull it up, or your just glutes aren't quite that strong. Okay, come on back. And nice and slow, just come to your kneeling position. Hope your low backs feel better.